Let me tell you something. You can't have a changed life with the same old mind. You can't walk into a new season thinking the same defeated thoughts. You can't ask God to do a new thing while you're still replaying the old thing. Transformation begins in the mind. The battle begins in the mind. And the victory begins in the mind. Some of you are praying for peace, but your thoughts are noisy. You're asking for clarity, but your mind is cluttered. You want joy, but you rehearse sorrow. You want to go higher, but your thoughts are dragging you lower. Baby, it's time to take control of your mind. Let me walk you through 10 mental habits that will transform your life from the inside out. 1. Guard your mind like a gate. Everything doesn't deserve access to your thoughts. Every opinion, every voice, every video, every vibe, it doesn't belong in the sacred space of your mental temple. You've got to learn to guard the gate. Not everything that knocks deserves an invitation. 2. Speak life to yourself daily. Some of you are waiting for validation from others, but your spirit is suffocating because you haven't spoken life to yourself in years. You don't need another compliment. You need to become your own prophet. You need to become your own mind. Tell yourself you are enough. You are growing. You are healing. You are rising. 3, train your focus. Focus isn't just a mental skill, it's spiritual warfare. Because the enemy knows if he can distract you, he can defeat you. You're not tired, you're distracted. You're not weak, you're just pulled in too many directions. When you train your focus, you take your power back. 4, interrupt negative thought loops. Thoughts become patterns. Patterns become beliefs. Beliefs shape behavior. But here's the good news. You can interrupt the loop. You can stop the replay. You can silence the lies. You don't have to believe every thought that visits you. Some thoughts need to be evicted. 5, practice mental stillness. You don't always need more noise. You need stillness. In the stillness, your spirit speaks. In the stillness, your clarity returns. In the stillness, your next step gets revealed. Learn the power of sitting with silence, not as a weakness, but as a weapon. 6, feed your mind. What builds you, you don't grow by accident. You grow by what you consume. If you keep feeding your mind junk, don't expect a life of wisdom. Read what challenges you. Learn what stretches you. Stop scrolling through nonsense and start feeding your soul. 7, gratitude is a daily discipline. Stop waiting to feel grateful. Start choosing gratitude. It's not about ignoring what's wrong. It's about magnifying what's right. Gratitude flips the script. It transforms your atmosphere. It calms your nerves. And it lifts your perspective to see the blessing in the middle of the battle. 8, make peace with your past in your mind. You can't change your life if your mind is still living in the past. Let it go. Not just with your lips, but with your thoughts. Forgiveness is mental freedom. You've already survived it. Don't rehearse what you've already been delivered from. You're not who you used to be. 9, visualize your victory. See yourself healed. See yourself whole. See yourself free. The mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and experience. So imagine your breakthrough until your life catches up. Don't wait to see it with your eyes. Believe it with your mind. Discipline your thoughts like a soldier. This is not for the faint. This is for warriors. You must discipline your mind like a soldier on assignment. You don't have time to entertain foolishness. You don't have the luxury of weak thinking. Your mind must be a fortress, focused, firm, and full of faith. Every thought must submit to your purpose. Let me close with this. You've cried long enough. You've struggled long enough. You've walked in circles long enough. Now it's time. Time to renew your mind. Time to shift your thinking. Time to transform your life, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger in your mind. The habits of your mind will determine the direction of your life. So today, start the shift. Start the discipline. Start the breakthrough. And watch your whole life begin to transform, not by chance, but by choice. Let me ask you something. Have you ever considered how much of what you struggle with didn't start in your circumstances, but started in your thoughts? Have you ever looked around at your life and asked, how did I get here? And the answer didn't lie in some major disaster or dramatic event, but in a slow, quiet leak in your thinking. One thought at a time, one lie at a time. Because let me tell you this, your mind is a gate, and you've got to guard that gate like your life depends on it, because it does. There are voices in this world constantly knocking on the door of your mind. Some come softly, wrapped in the tone of just being realistic. Others come disguised as jokes. Some come in loud, toxic waves that sound like truth because you've heard them your whole life. And the more you entertain these voices, the more they take root. The more they take root, the more they grow. And the more they grow, the more they define the atmosphere of your life. You don't realize it yet, but your anxiety may not be coming from your situation. It may be coming from the gate you left wide open. Your fear, it might be a result of unfiltered thoughts that you let in day after day. The depression, the anger, the insecurity, the frustration, it could all be the fruit of what you've allowed to walk through the front door of your mind without challenge. You can't just let anything come in and sit down. This is your sacred space. This is the battlefield. This is the engine room of your life. The mind is not a public park. It's not a free-for-all. It's a garden. And if you don't guard it, weeds will take over. People think spiritual warfare happens outside. They think it's in conflict, in betrayal, in sickness. But can I tell you where the real war is being fought? Right behind your forehead, in the quiet of your thoughts, in the dark corners of your self-talk, in the whispers you hear when you lay down at night and replay every mistake you've made. That's the war. And if you don't guard the gate, that war will steal your peace, rob your joy, and paralyze your purpose. You're not crazy for feeling overwhelmed. You're not weak for being tired. But you've got to wake up to the fact that you've been letting intruders walk into your mind without resistance. You've been granting access to thoughts that don't align with your purpose. You've been entertaining ideas that oppose your healing. And you've been rehearsing imaginations that were never from God in the first place. It's time to rise up and get militant about your mental life. I said militant. You've got to be ruthless about what you allow to take residence in your mind. Not everything deserves to stay. Not every memory deserves to be revisited. Not every conversation deserves a replay. Not every opinion deserves to echo in your thoughts. Some things need to be denied at the gate, turned away, sent packing. You've been so focused on who left you, who betrayed you, who didn't support you, that you haven't realized the greatest betrayal might be the thoughts you believed without question. Who told you you weren't enough? Who told you you'd never heal? Who said you're always going to struggle? Who planted that lie in your mind and watched it grow while you called it reality? Enough is enough. Who've got to be the gatekeeper now? You've got to ask every thought, who sent you? Where are you taking me? What fruit will you produce if I entertain you long enough? Because if it doesn't bring peace, if it doesn't align with your healing, if it doesn't push you toward purpose, if it doesn't carry truth, it doesn't belong. It's not just about positivity. No, this is deeper than that. This is about dominion. This is about reclaiming your right to decide what has the power to shape you. Because the most dangerous things in life are not the storms around you, but the seeds within you. You've been looking for external changes. You want a new job, a new relationship, a new season. But what if God is saying, I want to give you a new mindset? Because a new season with the same mind will turn victory into frustration. Elevation with an unguarded mind will become sabotage. Favor without mental discipline will become stress. Your life will always move in the direction of your dominant thoughts. So today, make the decision, close the gate to guilt that no longer serves your growth. Close the gate to shame that should have been buried. Close the gate to opinions that don't understand your calling. Close the gate to comparisons that rob you of your joy. Close the gate to fear that paralyzes your purpose. And open the gate to truth, to peace, to clarity, to wisdom, to identity, to love. Let those things flow in like light flooding a dark room. Let them sit down and stay a while. Because when your mind becomes guarded, your soul becomes grounded. You're not weak for protecting your peace. You're not selfish for managing your mental boundaries. You're not wrong for refusing to let certain things live rent-free in your thoughts. You're wise. You're maturing. You're walking in power. This next version of you, this elevated, focused, healed, unshakable you, will only emerge when your mind is no longer a revolving door, but a protected place of purpose. So stand guard, be vigilant, be watchful, and remember, your mind is a gate. What you let in will eventually live in you. Choose wisely, live powerfully, and guard the gate like your future depends on it, because it does. There's something powerful, something deeply spiritual about the words you speak over your own life. You may not realize it yet, but the greatest conversation you'll ever have is not the one with your pastor, your mentor, your spouse, or your friends. The greatest conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Every single day, without fail, you are speaking to yourself. When you wake up in the morning, before your feet even touch the ground, you're already saying something, sometimes silently, sometimes aloud. You're already forming a narrative. You're already giving your mind instructions. You're already building or breaking, lifting or lowering, healing or harming, just by the words you whisper to your own soul. And the question you have to ask yourself is this: what am I saying when no one else is listening? You see, you don't need haters when your own thoughts are tearing you down. You don't need opposition when your inner voice is your greatest critic. You don't need an enemy outside when the enemy is speaking from the inside. Because nothing has more consistent access to your spirit than you. Nobody knows your insecurities better. Nobody knows your fears more intimately. Nobody knows your history more completely. Nobody knows your history more completely. Nobody knows your history more completely. That means if you're not careful, you can become your own worst prophet. You keep saying, I'll never change. I'm too messed up. I'm always the problem. I'm too old. I'm not smart enough. Nobody wants me. I can't win. I'm stuck. And you think those words don't matter because you're not saying them out loud, but baby, the universe doesn't wait for you to shout. It responds to your agreement. And if the only thing you're agreeing with is failure, shame, and defeat, then you're creating a prison with your own voice and locking yourself in with your own words. Let me tell you something loud and clear. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. And your tongue doesn't just speak to others, it speaks to you. Some of you are surviving storms that never should have touched you. You're battling things you never should have entertained. You're bleeding from wounds you inflicted with your own words. Not because you're evil, but because somewhere along the way, you forgot how to speak life to yourself. You forgot how to remind yourself of who you are. You forgot how to be your own encourager, your own motivator, your own daily preacher. Waiting for a word when your deliverance is hanging on the words you refuse to speak over your own life. Speak life to yourself. Tell yourself, I may be in a battle, but I am not broken. Tell yourself, I may be walking through pain, but I am still powerful. Tell yourself, this is not the end of me, this is the making of me. Tell yourself, my past may have shaped me, but it does not define me. Tell yourself, I still carry promise even with the scars. Tell yourself, I am healing, I am rising, I am becoming. Every day you wake up, speak life. Don't wait for the pain to go away. Don't wait for the fear to leave. Don't wait for the support to show up. Speak life anyway. Speak it when your hands are shaking. Speak it when your eyes are filled with tears. Speak it when your confidence is low. Speak it when the enemy is loud. Speak it until your mind, your soul agrees with it. Speak it until the chains start breaking, not outside you, but within you. You don't have to lie to yourself to speak life. You don't have to ignore your wounds to proclaim your worth. This isn't about pretending everything is okay. This is about reminding yourself that even when everything is not okay, you are still chosen. You are still worthy. You are still on your way. You are still enough. Some of you have been living in silence for too long. You've let the loudest voice in your mind be the voice of trauma, the voice of shame, the voice of every person who left you or wounded you. But it's time to shift the frequency. It's time to drown out the noise. It's time to raise up a new voice, the voice of truth, the voice of victory, the voice of healing. And that voice has to come from you. You can't control what others say about you. You can't stop the whispers, the slander, the doubt, or the discouragement coming from outside. But what you can control is what you say back to yourself when they walk away. You can choose to echo their words, or you can choose to rewrite the script. You've got a voice for a reason. It's not just to answer the phone, argue with people, or recite what you've heard. That voice is your tool of transformation. That voice is your sword, and when used correctly, it will slay every lie the enemy tried to plant in your mind. Speak life, not just when you feel strong, but even when you feel weak. Speak it when no one claps for you. Speak it when you're walking alone. Speak it when you're unsure, unqualified, and unfinished. Because the most powerful transformation doesn't begin with applause. It begins with a whisper that says, I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I still believe something good can come out of this. And let me tell you, if you keep speaking life long enough, your heart will start to believe again. Your mind will shift. Your energy will change. Your habits will follow. And eventually, your entire life will rise to match the words you planted in the darkness. You don't need the whole world to believe in you right now. You just need you to believe in you. You don't need a crowd. You need courage. You don't need more likes. You need more truth in your inner life. So open your mouth and speak life to yourself. Daily, relentlessly, boldly, even if your voice trembles. Speak until your soul starts to stand up again. Because the first step to a transformed life is a transformed tongue. One of the heaviest weights you'll ever carry is the burden of trying to control what was never yours to manage. And some of you are exhausted, not because of your responsibilities, not because of your workload, but because you are entangled in emotional battles you were never assigned to fight. You are drained because you're trying to control how people think, how they respond, how they show up, how they love, how they leave, how they stay, and you wonder why your peace keeps bleeding out from your soul day after day. There comes a moment in every life where you have to choose your freedom over your obsession with fixing things. You have to choose your sanity over your need to be right. You have to choose your peace over your pride. And that moment begins with detaching from what you cannot control. You're trying to manage outcomes like you're God, trying to fix everybody's feelings like it's your job. You keep holding on to things that don't want to be held. You're trying to make people love you who were never capable of loving you in the first place. Trying to make people understand you who have no desire to comprehend your heart. You're trying to rewrite endings that were already meant to end. And in the process, you're losing yourself. You keep checking your phone for a message that may never come. You keep rehearsing a conversation that won't change anything. You keep sitting in mental prisons with people who have already walked away free. And yet, here you are, still chained to what they did, what they said, how they hurt you. But let me tell you something. You will never heal while you're still trying to control the storm that already passed. Let it go. You can't make them say sorry. You can't make them care. You can't make them see your worth. And it is not your job to convince someone to see value in what they were blind to appreciate. Some of the closure you've been praying for is not a conversation. It's a decision. It's the moment you stand up inside yourself and say, I release you, not because you're right, but because I need peace more than I need permission. Stop trying to rewrite people's roles in your story. If they walked away, let them walk. If they betrayed you, bless them and release them. If the door closed, trust that it was protection, not punishment. The reason you keep feeling stuck is because your heart is still trying to hold on while your future is calling you forward. You cannot move into your purpose if you're still babysitting your pain. You cannot rise if you're constantly reaching back to what already broke you. You cannot step into the next chapter if you won't let the ink dry on the last one. And you say, but I just want answers. I want to understand why. But can I tell you, peace does not always come with understanding. Sometimes peace is born in surrender. When you finally stop fighting the wind and start flowing with grace. When you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start declaring, it may have happened, but it will not define me. You don't have to control the storm when you know who calms the sea. You don't have to control people when you trust that what's meant for you will never miss you. You don't have to manipulate outcomes when you've been called to peace. Because peace doesn't mean you're passive. Peace means you've matured. Peace means you've learned that real power is not in controlling. It's in releasing. Some of the most anointed people are not the ones who fight every battle. They are the ones who know which battles are worth their breath. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't need to react to every attack. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone who's too blind to see it. You've been doing too much for people who bring too little to your table. It's time to detach, not in anger, but in wisdom. Not in bitterness, but in boldness. Not in hatred, but in healing. Detach from what you cannot change. Detach from people who keep showing you who they are. Detach from timelines you can't control. Detach from past regrets that you can't undo. Detach from outcomes you keep obsessing over. Detach from needing to be perfect before you move forward. Detach from needing every answer before you take your next step. You've got to stop asking, what if it falls apart? And start asking, what if I finally let go and it all comes together? Because here's the truth, the moment you release what's breaking you is the same moment you begin to rise. And rising doesn't always look like shouting. Sometimes rising looks like silence. Sometimes rising looks like walking away without needing to make a scene. Sometimes rising looks like unfollowing in peace, blocking in wisdom, detaching in love. You don't have to fight for every connection. You don't have to chase what isn't chasing you. You don't have to beg for clarity from people who live in confusion. You don't have to keep watering relationships that stopped bearing fruit seasons ago. Let God prune what needs to be pruned. Let life shift what needs to be shifted. Let grace carry what you can no longer hold. Because what's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind you. But you'll never see it clearly if your vision is still clouded by what you refuse to release. Detach from what you cannot control, so you can finally heal from what you've been carrying. So you can finally see what's next. So you can finally step into the peace you've been praying for. Because your destiny is too big, your calling too sacred, and your peace too precious to waste another day trying to control what was never yours to carry. There will come a point in your life when your feelings will want to run the show. Your emotions will scream louder than your purpose. Your moods will shift more often than your progress. And in that moment, you will have to decide, will you be led by your feelings, or will you be led by your future? Let me tell you the truth. If you want to transform your life, you can't follow your feelings. Because feelings are fickle. One minute they'll push you forward, the next they'll pull you into delay. One moment you'll feel unstoppable, and the next you'll feel unworthy. But if you keep following your emotions, you will keep forfeiting your growth. You don't build strength by doing what's easy. You build it by doing what's right. You build it by choosing what will serve you in the long run instead of what soothes you in the short term. You build it by choosing discipline, not because it feels good, but because it leads you to good. See, some people think transformation is this magical moment of inspiration. They think it's about the fire, the hype, the motivation. But what they don't understand is that real change, the kind that sticks, the kind that reshapes your life, comes from consistency, not emotion. It comes from discipline, not drama. It's easy to start something when you're excited. It's easy to show up when you feel inspired. But what about when the fire burns out? What about when nobody is watching? What about when you're tired, discouraged, or afraid? That's when your decision to be disciplined will carry you. That's when the habits you built in secret will strengthen you in silence. You've been saying you want change. You've been praying for breakthrough. You've been asking for elevation. But are you willing to show up when it's inconvenient? Are you willing to push through when you're not in the mood? Are you willing to deny your feelings in order to honor your future? Because let me tell you something, your feelings are not always truthful. Your feelings are not always accurate. They are not permanent. They are not facts. And they do not deserve to sit on the throne of your life. Your discipline must be stronger than your doubt. Your commitment must be louder than your excuses. Your vision must be clearer than your mood. Some of you have allowed one bad day to undo weeks of progress. You've allowed one moment of weakness to make you quit what you were born to finish. You've allowed your emotions to talk you out of what you were built to endure. But your destiny is too important to be ruled by how you feel. Your future doesn't care if you're in the mood. Your goals don't shrink just because you're tired. Your calling doesn't cancel just because you don't feel like it. You've got to show up on the hard days, on the lonely days, on the days when nothing makes sense. That's where transformation is born. Not in comfort, not in convenience, but in consistency. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. It is the structure that holds your future. It is the practice of showing up with purpose even when passion is nowhere to be found. And it is the decision to believe that the reward will outweigh the resistance. You want to be healed? Discipline your mind to reject the thoughts that keep breaking you. You want to be successful? Discipline your habits until excellence becomes your normal. You want to have peace? Discipline your responses so that chaos no longer gets a seat at your table. You want to grow? Discipline your environment until your surroundings match your vision. Because you can't pray for change and then keep feeding the same patterns. You can't beg for clarity while making decisions from confusion. You can't cry for breakthrough and then keep bowing to the bondage of procrastination. You've got to rise up and say, I choose discipline even when I don't feel it. I choose progress even when it's slow. I choose purpose even when it hurts. You're not always going to feel motivated, and that's okay. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the flame that never goes out. Motivation may get you started, but discipline keeps you moving when motivation leaves the room. And it will leave the room. Discipline is what teaches you to say, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to pray anyway. I'm going to get up anyway. I'm going to believe anyway. I'm going to love anyway. I'm going to keep walking anyway. Even when it's uphill, even when it's lonely, even when it's silent. And do you know what happens when you keep choosing discipline over emotion? Your confidence starts to rise. Your mind gets sharper. Your spirit gets stronger. Your heart starts to believe again. Because discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the training ground for greatness. It's the secret weapon that nobody sees, but everybody feels. You don't need to feel perfect to start. You need to start to feel different. You don't need to feel strong to act. You need to act so that strength can rise. You don't need to wait until everything is aligned. You need to choose discipline now, in the mess, in the pain, in the middle of your journey, because that's where champions are made. And listen to me, this isn't about grinding yourself into the ground. This isn't about shaming yourself into change. This is about honoring your future self so deeply that you're willing to fight for them. It's about seeing the person you're becoming and loving them enough to make decisions that protect their peace, their health, their joy, their calling. So when you wake up tomorrow and your emotions start talking, let them speak, but don't let them lead. When doubt whispers, listen, but don't follow. When fear rises, feel it, but don't bow. You're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you've believed. And if you keep showing up, one disciplined choice at a time, you will become the version of yourself you've been praying for. Because your transformation won't come from how you feel, it will come from what you do. And that starts with choosing discipline. Every single day, there is a voice inside your head right now. It talks to you more than anyone else does. It wakes up with you. It walks through the day with you. It whispers in the silence when no one else is around. And the dangerous thing is, some of you have allowed that voice to become your enemy. You don't need anyone else to put you down because you've already mastered how to do it to yourself. You've become fluent in self-criticism. You speak the language of defeat like it's your native tongue. You've convinced yourself that being hard on yourself is the only way to grow. But hear me, nothing flourishes in a climate of shame. You don't grow by abusing yourself. You grow by believing in yourself. And that begins with how you talk to you. Some of you have been saying the same toxic script to yourself for years. I'll never be good enough. I always mess everything up. Nobody really loves me. I don't have what it takes. And now that lie you repeated has built a home in your mind. It has built walls around your potential. It has caged your confidence. And you wonder why it feels so hard to rise. You can't speak failure and expect success to show up. You can't rehearse weakness and expect strength to be present. You can't tear yourself down and expect to stand tall in your purpose. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and your tongue has been killing your courage. Your tongue has been slicing through your self-worth. Your tongue has been cursing your future with words wrapped in your own insecurity. It's time to shift how you speak to yourself. It's time to interrupt every lie you've believed with truth. It's time to rewrite the script in your mind that has kept you stuck. Because the way you talk to yourself is not just a reflection of how you feel. It's a prophecy of where you're going. Your words are shaping your mindset. Your mindset is shaping your behavior, and your behavior is shaping your destiny. That's how powerful your inner voice is. You've got to wake up and speak like you're somebody chosen. Walk like you're someone called. Talk like you believe your life has value. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what they said. I don't care who left. I don't care who didn't clap for you. You cannot keep repeating the curses they spoke over you and expect to walk in a blessing. You've been given authority over your mind, but you've been handing the mic to doubt. You've been called to peace, but you've been rehearsing anxiety. You can't just pray for peace and keep entertaining chaos in your language. You can't just ask for strength and then call yourself weak every time things get hard. You can't cry out for breakthrough and then say, I don't think I'll ever change. That is spiritual sabotage. That is mental warfare. That is the battlefield between what you say and what you believe. You've got to start blessing yourself with your words. Bless your mornings with intention. Bless your body with gratitude. Bless your path with purpose. Bless your heart with compassion. Bless your mind with clarity. Speak life into places you used to curse. Speak healing into wounds you used to hide. Speak favor over situations that used to frustrate you. Because when you shift how you speak, you shift how you live. Start telling yourself, I am not my past. I am not my failure. I am not my fear. I am not what they said I was. I am not stuck. I'm being prepared. I am not behind. I'm on divine timing. I am not broken. I'm becoming. You've got to get bold with your affirmations. Declare it, even when you don't feel it. Speak it even when your emotions haven't caught up. Because faith doesn't wait for evidence. Faith speaks until evidence shows up. When you speak, faith even when you don't see it. Prepare. You cannot fail. When you don't fail, I am not divine timing. I am not bold enough to fail at the best thing that had ever happened to you. You cannot fail. When you don't fail, I am not the faithless in hearing. Don't just wait for someone to come speak over you. Speak over yourself. Look in the mirror and call yourself chosen. Call yourself strong. Call yourself valuable. Call yourself worthy. Because when your voice shifts, your vision follows. You'll start to see possibilities where you used to see obstacles. You'll start to walk in authority where you used to shrink in fear. But this won't happen overnight. It takes intentional practice. It takes interrupting that old voice every time it rises. It takes replacing I can't with I will. Replacing I'm a mess with I'm maturing. Replacing I'm not enough with I am more than enough for the life I'm called to live. And let me tell you something. You won't always believe it the first time you say it. That's okay. Say it anyway. Say it until your heart catches up. Say it until your spirit agrees. Say it until your life aligns with the truth you speak. Because the more you say it, the more you hear it. And the more you hear it, the more you become it. Don't let your inner dialogue become your downfall. Don't let your inner voice be the loudest critic in your life. You've got enough battles out there. You don't need a war within. Speak peace over yourself. Speak power into your journey. Speak patience over your process. You are not too far gone. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too damaged. You are in the middle of becoming. So speak like you're growing. Speak like you're healing. Speak like your life matters. Because it does. And the first person who needs to hear that is you. Speak to yourself differently. Your transformation depends on it. Now that you've heard the 10, now that you've been given the tools, the truth, the transformation, what will you do? Because this is more than a speech. This is a divine interruption. This is a call to arms, not the kind that fights battles out there, but the kind that wins wars in your mind. The kind that breaks generational cycles of fear, insecurity, shame, and procrastination. The kind that silences the chaos long enough for clarity to rise. Your life is too important to be lived on autopilot. Your purpose is too powerful to be buried under excuses. Your destiny is too divine to be delayed by doubt. You have been waiting for a breakthrough, but breakthrough has been waiting on you, waiting for you to shift your thoughts, waiting for you to raise your standards, waiting for you to stop talking yourself out of the healing, the love, the greatness that already has your name on it. You've been walking through life like you're ordinary, but you're not. Wander in confusion anymore. You don't have to sit on the sidelines of your own life anymore. Start today. Choose intentional thoughts over reactive emotion. Choose truth over tradition. Choose discipline over distraction. Choose stillness over noise. Choose purpose over popularity. Choose silence over shouting. Choose inner authority over outward approval. Choose love over fear. Choose boldness over doubt. Choose healing over history. Because the version of you you've been praying for, the strong one, the calm one, the powerful one, the healed one, is already within you. You're not becoming a new person. You're just removing everything that's not really you. You're stripping away the lies, the weight, the wounds, the residue of who you had to be to survive, so that you can now become who you were born to be, to thrive. And this time, don't just hear these words. Be these words. Live these words. Let them burn through every false belief you've carried. Let them break the back of every limitation that tried to keep you small. Let them lift you to the level you were destined for. You are not your past. You are not your patterns. You are not your pain. You are the transformation. You are the shift. You are the beginning of a new legacy. Speak like it. Think like it. Walk like it. And for the love of everything inside you that refuses to settle, live like it. Because your life is not waiting on the world to change. Your life is waiting on you.